Good morning. We're back in the city of Thuldrim, and we're ready for another build. You can see here glowing in the morning light our wonderful dock area, but we do have a slight issue. There's no dock. We've got all these wonderful shops in the middle, but these spruce areas we were meant to build cranes, warehouses, and everything needed for the ships. So, let's get started on that. I started off with a bunch of logs, and these were going to form a gantry and some cranes. I didn't really have a plan for this build, I just sort of went with it. I wanted to see what I'd end up with if I just kept placing down a bunch of vaguely industrial looking shapes. Overall, I think I ended up with a pretty good dock area. And so let's continue on with the build. You can see there's going to be a crane there on top of that gantry. That's what that little sticky up bit's for. But I came around and I built up a few more things, including some tanks for storage. One of the most annoying things about this shaders is if there's any chunks not loaded in, it really messes with the lighting. You can see this stacked log area, that's going to be a little bit of a warehouse. But over on this side, we're going to have another crane and some tanks for storage. We've also got this little outcrop here, and that's going to be a nice platform that you can bring your ship up to and have it refueled from the tanks. And then we're going to have a smaller goods warehouse here. Not bad for the first part of the episode, but let's go to a quick story segment.
The Valkyria sovereign groaned through blackening swell. Her timbers proud, though iron-weighed and worn, night flared no stars, and none aboard could tell if land or sea had been torn. Each wave a whisper, not again, not here. And still she pushed, though every mast held fear. Behind her, Eldros clenched the ridge with stone, a crown of frost upon its ancient brow. Its castle bells were dumb, its fires overthrown, by fog so thick, even torch forgot its vow. Men held their hands to flame and found it dead, like breath exhaled in solemn dread. The mountain kept its secrets in the shroud, and every hut and every hall and keep felt hush descend, not peace, but heavy, loud, a silence like the trembling held in sleep. Something would stir, and none could say from where, but all could feel the knife blade in the air.
Okay, we're back, and we're back in the dock, and we're going to continue on with our build. I fleshed out this platform a little bit more, so it's ready to refuel, and it's a little bit more sturdy now. You may also recognise these tanks from the brewery. I've reused them here, and they're pretty much exactly the same. But I don't think you can refuel your ship with sort of red berry mead from Gronskull. So they'll probably contain fuel instead. Also, I thought this sunset looked pretty good, so I got a quick clip of that. And also, here's a tower I built last episode, and you can see now behind it is the beginnings of the dock area. There's a bunch more to do. I then built up the 2 tanks on this side, using a bunch of copper. Then it was time to work on some of our vaguely industrial shapes. These tanks are pretty cool, but I want cranes, platforms, and walkways. I do really like the tops of these tanks, I don't know why. I think the carpet trapdoor to slabs, which gives it a really nice sort of curve, gently curves off at the top. I then built a couple stairways up into the warehouse area. We got one on this side, one up to the second floor, well, on the second floor of you're American. No, second floor of you're British, third floor of you're American. I also thought the rain looked pretty good here. And then I started building a roof on top and an extra walkway from the gantry up to the top floor. Added a bunch of fences in everywhere to stop me and other people from falling off. But you can see I did a little bit of work on those stairs to make them a bit more usable. But with a bunch more fences, this is now looking like a pretty good warehouse. You can see each of the floors has a special pathway into it. And we've got fences around most of the floors now, including the ground floor, or the first floor if you're American. That's weird. Never understood why they call the ground floor the first floor. Guess I don't understand why we call it the ground floor. Touche. But with our warehouses done and a little bit more detail added, I decided it was time to come back to our gantry. And I decided to fix this by adding another gantry. So I added the extra gantry. This time it juts out from the side. And I think it just makes it look a little bit more vaguely industrial. So I added a staircase and a bunch of railings to make it even more vaguely industrial. And then a vaguely industrial platform at the bottom. Do you know what else is vaguely industrial? A crane. We've got one now. Yeah, there we go, look. It's a crane. It's vaguely industrial. And I think it looks pretty good. I think the crane is what brings this whole area together. You couldn't really tell it was a dock, just looked a bit weird. Of course, you've got the luxury shops here. And then as you cross over from the main street, you've got the vaguely industrial shipping area. You've got this... Why is my phone going off? Anyway, you've got this crane with this wonderful stone area and all these little details. And I think that looks pretty good. I think it looks vaguely industrial, and that's exactly what I was going for. And speaking of being vague, I hope your day isn't vaguely good. I hope it's pretty awesome. And I hope that day starts with a pretty good morning too. I've built pretty cool cathedrals in the past, and I want to know what you're working on today. That was a weird segue. Just tell me what you're up to. Guess it's the weekend as well. What are you up to then? I'm going to be engaged in combat with a bunch of ants. I went down to the local butcher shop, and there's actually 12,000 ants that have taken it over. So I've got a can of deodorant and a lighter, and off to battle we go.